The 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz promises to be a true rival to the Ford Maverick. A quirky and rugged styling, impeccable reliability, and a borderline luxurious interior are only a few reasons why you should wait and consider the Hyundai Santa Cruz over the Blue Oval's offering. So let us dissect the reasons why the 2025 Hyundai Santa Cruz shocks the entire car industry. The styling of the Hyundai Santa Cruz has always been controversial, to say the least. Most critics found the resemblance between it and the Hyundai Tucson to be way too similar for comfort, and was one of the key reasons why the car wasn't as popular as Hyundai wanted it to be. Thankfully though, Hyundai listened to the feedback of the market, and for the 2025 model year, they decided to update the exterior of their compact pickup truck. The design was revised in a way that amplifies the ruggedness and sharpness of the car without trading the unique looks that the Tucson and Santa Cruz are known for. For example, the LED front grille is still there. However, the lights are now rectangular, making the car look sharper and more retro-ish, giving it a very charismatic front end. This has been amplified by a simplified and sharper front bumper that gives the car a more no-nonsense design, which is a welcome improvement. This, coupled with the fact that the Santa Cruz also received 2 tow hooks at the front for certain trim levels, made the pickup look properly rugged. The sides haven't changed all that much, except for prominent plastic wheel arches on certain trim levels that make the car look like a proper off-roader instead of a boring old city pickup truck. The back end has also been facelifted. However, the changes are much more subtle, with only minor revisions to the bumper. And to be frank, we prefer it that way, as the rear end of the Santa Cruz was never an issue. A very good choice of engines. One of the biggest virtues that the Hyundai Santa Cruz had over the Maverick was the choice of engines, and you'd be delighted to hear that there won't be any changes in this department. The Hyundai Santa Cruz will still come with 2 power plants that can both be outfitted with AWD. The base model will come with a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated inline 4 that pushes out some odd 190 horsepower. This Santa Cruz is considerably lighter than the hybrid Maverick, making it much peppier in the real world, while also granting it a smoother driving experience. Not to mention that it also comes with an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which completely obliterates the CVT-equipped Maverick, allowing it a much better torque range and granting it a much more elastic power band. The 2.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder is even more impressive, as it makes over 280 horsepower, making it significantly more powerful than the EcoBoost Maverick. Not only that, but it also comes with a dual-clutch transmission, ensuring quick gear changes and solid economy. Oh, and did we mention that the engine is also much torquier than the Maverick's powerhouse? This is all crowned by the fact that you can obtain AWD with both power plants, making it a far superior truck in this regard over the Maverick, which left you pressured into buying the turbocharged 4 if you wanted AWD. And while yes, these engines aren't as frugal as the hybrid Maverick around town, you'll agree that MPG figures of 22 city and 26 highway are still more than alright. However, this isn't the only thing that the Santa Cruz has over the Maverick, as you can also expect fantastic reliability records. Hyundai has been revered as one of the most dependable car brands in the US for the past decade, and the company's 10-year warranty keeps confirming this over and over again. The biggest advantage of the Santa Cruz is the fact that its Blue Oval competitor is downright unreliable. You see, Ford's quality control is so low that the Maverick Hybrid has been known for spontaneously combusting from time to time. This is because the hybrid's engines haven't been properly tested, and some examples were even seen with their blocks cracking and leaking fuel, which combusted when in contact with the pipingly hot exhaust manifold. Now, combine this with lithium-ion batteries that are on board, and you'll understand how and why the Maverick isn't exactly known for its safety and reliability. On the other hand, the Santa Cruz's uncomplicated and well-proven drivetrains and power plants run circles around that sketchy Ford Maverick. The sheer dependability of the truck makes you feel like you're driving a proper workhorse, and not some rebadged mediocre SUV. Speaking of mediocrity, the Santa Cruz also kicks the Maverick's butt in terms of driving dynamics, because it is a fun truck to drive. It's undeniable that the Ford Maverick lacks any kind of character when it comes to driving experience. It's not nauseating to drive per se, but it's uninspiring. It drives the same way it looks. Boring. The Santa Cruz, however, offers a much better driving experience. Thanks to its wheelbase, which is both shorter and wider, the Santa Cruz feels much more planted on the road, despite being just as jacked up as the Maverick. This is further amplified by its firm, borderline sporty suspension that allows it to be quite engaging to drive in the bends, and the fact that the steering wheel is also pretty direct also helps out massively. Sure, it isn't phenomenal, but it is much more communicative and responsive than what the Maverick has to offer. Oh, and the aforementioned power plant and transmission combinations also make the car a much more responsive and controllable thing, which once again helps the car out massively. Now, we know you're worried that the added stiffness would have made the truck unbearable and uncomfortable. However, that isn't the case because of the Santa Cruz's unbelievably modern and well-built interior. The pre-redesigned model has been already well received in terms of interior quality, and it was 2 classes above the Maverick's rattlefest of an interior. The facelifted model is even better in this regard, as the Hyundai Santa Cruz has been redesigned even further. The interior seats are now even more comfortable than they were before, with better profiling and more support. The steering wheel has also been swapped out for Hyundai's new 3-spoke pattern, which makes the car look much more contemporary than the old thing. However, the biggest change by far is the infotainment screen and the center console. The infotainment screen is now crispier, larger, and far more intuitive than the previous generation. The largest one is a 12.3-inch unit that has been flush-fitted to the digital driver's display, which makes the car look much more luxurious and also opens up the interior. The center console has also been simplified in all the right areas, such as climate control. The previous version used physical buttons, which, albeit tactile, were still a bit of a drag to use. The new version swaps these out for rotary dials, allowing for a much less complicated and far more elegant solution. Plus, we're very glad that Hyundai didn't move physical buttons and dials to the infotainment screen, despite making it larger. Overall, the interior is an improvement in every way possible over the previous generation. However, the biggest advantage of Santa Cruz's interior over the Maverick is undoubtedly the sheer quality. The entirety of the dash is covered in soft touch materials, unlike the hard plastics that Ford insists on using. Plus, the aforementioned seats are a whole heap better than those cheap and basic cloth seats found in the Maverick. However, all of these improvements come at a cost, which is why we have to ask why we have to discuss pricing and trim levels. We cannot deny that the Santa Cruz is a more expensive truck than the Ford Maverick. For example, the base SE model starts at around $29,000. And for the money, you won't be getting the large 12.3-inch display or the pristine interior quality. Yes, the interior will beat out the Maverick still, and you will be getting virtually everything you need. However, the fact that you'll be getting a rubber steering wheel and basic seats makes this trim quite a disappointment. For $31,000, however, you'll be getting the SEL, which for just $2,000 more gives you keyless go, remote start, and dual-zone climate controls amongst other smaller quality-of-life updates. This is much better value for the money than the SE, as you'll be getting a truck with all the essentials you'll ever need. Next in line is the night trim level, which, we'll give it that, is a very cool-looking version of the Santa Cruz. However, apart from that, we would say that the car is fairly overpriced, coming in at $40,000. Sure, you'll get the larger display and the 2.5 turbocharged 4-cylinder. However, you'll also trade all of the ruggedness for a more city-oriented truck. Honestly, just go for the Tucson if you plan on doing this. The XLR is $2,000 more than the Night, and for the money, you'll be getting a jacked-up ride, a properly rugged exterior, an almost fully kitted-out interior with a leather steering wheel, improved seats, and generally more attention to detail. Let's also not forget about the vast amount of safety features too. The price is a bit steep. However, you will be getting quite a lot of car for the money, so if you've got it, you should get it. Finally, the Limited will be the top-of-the-range model that offers the utmost interior quality, while also being the perfect middle ground between the XLR and the Night in terms of driving dynamics. And at $43,000, it isn't that more expensive than the two. Out of all these, we'd honestly either go for the XLR or the SEL, depending on the budget. The Limited is also a pretty good choice. However, the SE and the Night trim are, in our opinion, to be avoided.